I'm pretty sure forced labor camps have existed in every communist nation. Like, again, like, what has that got to do with anything? Like, honestly, this thing is about, like, what people sound like when they defend capitalism. So, like, here it is, okay? Here's the original piece of content.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Don't send Toby away. Toby be good for your hand, boss.
You can stay.
Toby stay. Toby stay. Toby be good now. Toby be real good.
So, like, that's it. Basically, I put the caption on there, you know, when people defend capitalism, this is what they sound like. They sound like a slave in a slave society, kind of appealing to their masters if they can, you know, hang around and enjoy the fruits of the slave system. So it's like a very simple message, but like, I don't mention communism in there at all. And like, the comments are just like strangely bringing up like communism all the time and like attacking communism. So like, we're talking about people that live in a capitalist like bubble and world, like a free market bourgeois society, and this person's just straight out, it's just like, yeah, pretty sure that forced labor camps have existed in every communist nation. And it's just like, well, first, okay, fine, and what's your point? Like, I don't know if they have existed in every nation. Let's fact check that, shall we, with our friend ChatGPT. Not that ChatGPT is like, you know, the god of all truth, but like, you know, it's easy to just quickly ask it some stuff. So let's just do that quickly, shall we? Have every communist, self-described communist society that has existed used forced labor?
No, not every self-described communist society has used forced labor, but many have, especially in cases where the state had significant control over the economy and social life. It's important to distinguish between theoretical communism as envisioned by Marx and Engels, an emancipated society without classes, money or coercion,
yes, it is important,
and the historical examples of self-described communist states, which have often been shaped by unique historical, cultural,
this is
and
an interesting
geopolitical
take.
pressures. Historical
That's my
context
line.
Of
That's usually my line.
forced labor. Forced labor has been a feature of some self-described communist states, particularly in periods of industrialization, wartime mobilization, or attempts to rapidly transform society. For example, 1. Soviet Union, USSR. The USSR under Stalin implemented forced labor on a massive scale, especially through the Gulag system, where prisoners were used for infrastructure projects, resource extraction, and other economic tasks. 2. People's Republic of China. During the Maoist era, especially under campaigns like the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, forced labor occurred in various forms, including re-education through labor camps, Laogai. 3. Cambodia under the Khmer Rouge. The regime pursued radical agrarian collectivization, which included forced labor under brutal conditions. However, not all actions within these societies can be reduced to forced labor, and many citizens voluntarily participated in work projects driven by ideological commitment or necessity. Variations and exceptions. Some self-described communist movements or governments did not rely heavily on forced labor.
I was going to talk about Cuba.
While there have been accusations of coercion in certain labor policies, forced labor on the scale seen in the USSR or Maoist China has not been as prominent. Yugoslavia, under Tito, Yugoslavia pursued a model of market socialism and workers' self-management that did not heavily depend on forced labor. Why forced labor? Several factors explain the prevalence of forced labor in certain self-described communist states.
All right, interesting. I'm not going to go into the rest of it. Oh, myopic preview. G'day, welcome. Today we're going through some of the comment sections on some of my content, because like there's a lot of anti-communist banter that happens in my comment sections on particular videos, and like really nonsensical anti-communist banter. Like sometimes like I will get the odd person that wants to like debate on like exactly why, you know, economically speaking, theoretically speaking, historically speaking, communism is a bad idea, or you know, revolution sucks, or something like that. But like I also just get a lot of brain dead Pavlovian responses to my content. Like people were just like, "Duh, communism when people die," like kind of thing. And so like I just wanted to go through some of that to get a good understanding of like the anti-communist narrative, like the grand narrative that exists out there, which has kind of brainwashed large portions of the working class. Because like at the end of the day, you know, if communism is really about solidarity, and socialism about workers' solidarity, then like we have to acknowledge the fact that, you know, a large section of the working class is almost made redundant to us due to their brainwashing. And so like to understand a bit of the brainwashing and to dissect some of the brainwashing is not only necessary in understanding the job that is in front of us, but it's also fucking hilarious. So like let's do that together, shall we? I just wanted to like acknowledge how it must be because I prompted and said self-described communist society, and like she's come out here with like a distinction between theoretical communism and like what actually happened historically. That's my line. But like she's done it well, I must say. ChatGPT, I'm happy with that. Marxist theory and forced labor. Marx and Engels envisaged a society where labor would be free and creative, not coerced or alienating. In a true communist society, labor would be voluntary and fulfilling, integrated into the life of the individual and the community. Forced labor in historical examples as self-described communist states reflects a departure from this ideal. Forced labor represents a departure from the ideal of socialism and communism. Yes, very good.
You win!
Very insightful, ChatGPT. Often justified by leaders as temporary measures to overcome historical underdevelopment or to counter external threats. Yes, and I think that is very apparent. Like, let's be honest. So, like, let's see if this guy's copped any heat for saying that. Nope. Well, that was... yes, a well-studied refusal that'll surely change my mind. Russia didn't have gulags. North Korea doesn't have Kichon re-education camps. China doesn't have the Xinjiang internment camps. Cuba doesn't have the UMAPs. Vietnam doesn't have the Kai Tao, but they're all literacy rates, right? But hey, they're literacy rates, right? Okay, I guess what he's trying to say is like, because they have slight improvements on like, you know, things like personal health and literacy rates and stuff like that, that justifies forced labor. Pretty sure forced labor is in Japan's prison system. You wouldn't describe Japan as Marxist-Leninist state. No, you wouldn't. And like, you know what I found out as well? During the Californian bushfires, like in LA and stuff, they basically empty out the prisons and get them to fight the fires. And they like, pay them like $2 an hour or a maximum of $12 a day or something. Like, you know, literally slave labor-esque, like wages to basically fill in the gaps in their services that they can't actually provide to their own citizenry.
Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.
I am on Patreon. Please follow the link in the description and sign up for free. We are trying to build a revolutionary community over there. So go become a member for free and join the conversation. If you can contribute financially, that would help a lot towards making this content.